Golden age thinking.
Ah, touche.
Yeah, the erroneous notion that a different time period is better than the one one's living in. You know, it's a flaw in the romantic imagination of those people who find it difficult to cope with the present.
Have you ever heard of golden age thinking? And if you could travel back in time, which period would you choose to travel back to? Join us on our latest Cinephile episode to find out, and be sure to visit our FUNDAY website for more. What's up, movie fans? I'm Wade, your Cinephile host. Midnight in Paris is a 2011 fantasy comedy film starring Owen Wilson in the lead role. Set in Paris, the film follows Gil Pender, a screenwriter who is forced to confront the shortcomings of his relationship with his materialistic fiancée and their divergent goals, which became increasingly exaggerated as he travels back in time to 1920s each night, which he believes to be the Golden Age. Gil Pender, a successful but disillusioned Hollywood screenwriter, and his fiancée Inez are in Paris vacationing with Inez's wealthy parents. Gil is drawn to the rich artistic history of Paris and expresses that he could see himself living there, but Inez quickly dismisses his ambition and tells him to be more realistic. By chance, they meet Inez's friend Paul and his wife Carol, who invites Gil and Inez to join them in sightseeing.
I hope you're not going to be as antisocial tomorrow at Versailles.
How was I antisocial?
Oh, please. I mean, you could totally tell you didn't want to go.
Well, I mean, they're your friends, and I have to admit, I'm not quite as taken with him as you are.
The next day, they visit Versailles, and Paul begins speaking with great authority but questionable accuracy on every subject they encounter, even contradicting a tour guide on the subject of Rodin. Gil finds Paul pedantic and annoying, but Inez adores him. A night of wine tasting gets Gil a little drunk, and he decides to walk the streets of Paris, while Inez travels with Paul and Carol by taxi. Gil stops to get his bearing, and at midnight, a 1920s car pulls up and invites him in. He joins them and finds himself at a party for Jean Cocteau, attended by notable people of the 1920s Paris art scene. He meets Zelda and Scott Fitzgerald in confusion.
Scott Fitzgerald. And who are you, old sport? Gil. The same names as... As what? You know, Scott Fitzgerald and... Scott and Zelda Fitzgerald, the Fitzgeralds. Isn't she beautiful? Yes. Yeah, it's a coincidence. It's like a...
You have a glazed look in your eye.
Zelda gets bored and encourages Scott and Gil to leave with her to another party. They first head to Bricktops, where Gil tries to comprehend his surroundings, where they run into Ernest Hemingway. After Zelda and Scott leaves, Gil and Hemingway discuss writing.
What are you writing?
Novel.
About what?
It's about a man who works in a nostalgia shop.
What the hell is a nostalgia shop?
You know, a place where they sell old things, memorabilia, and... Does that sound terrible?
No subject is terrible if the story is true, if the prose is clean and honest, and if it affirms courage and grace under pressure.
Hemingway offers to show Gil's novel to Gertrude Stein. Overjoyed, Gil leaves to fetch his manuscript, but as he exits the building, he returns back to present day. The cafe where he encountered Hemingway is now a laundromat. The next night, Gil tries to share his time travel experience with Inez, but she ditches Gil before the clock strikes midnight. When it does, the same car returns. Gil joins Hemingway on his way to visit Gertrude Stein's apartment, where he is introduced to Stein, who is in the midst of giving Pablo Picasso a negative critique of a new painting of Picasso's lover, Adriana. Gil is instantly drawn to her. They spend some time getting to know each other. When Gil returns to the hotel, he's still in disbelief of who he has just met.
I was with Hemingway and Picasso, Pablo Picasso and Ernest Hemingway. I'm Gil Pender from Pasadena. Cub Scouts. failed freshman English. But little old Gil Bender has this novel with Gertrude Stein. Oh, boy, that girl was so lovely.
Gil continued his time travel for the next couple of nights, while Inez is unimpressed with the things that fascinate Gil, and chooses to spend her time with Paul instead. Gil's constant disappearance begins to cause suspicions, and Inez's father hires a private detective to follow him. On one of his time travel back, Gil walks the streets of Paris with Adriana, and admire its beauty together.
And when you think that in, the cold, violent, meaningless universe that Paris exists, these lights, I mean, come on, there's nothing happening on Jupiter or Neptune, but from way out in space, you can see these lights, the cafes, people drinking and singing. I mean, for all we know, Paris is the hottest spot in the universe.
Vous êtes un poète.
Ah, come on, that's just, you're very kind, but I wouldn't call my babbling poetic.
Adriana leaves Picasso and continues to bond with Gil, although he is conflicted by his attraction to her. Inez and her parents decide to travel to Mount Saint Michel, while Gil stayed behind. He meets Gabrielle again, an antique dealer and fellow admirer of the lost generation, who he buys a Cole-Porter gramophone record from, and later finds Adriana's diary from the 1920s at a bookstall. He takes it to a tour guide who translates it for him, revealing that Adriana was in love with him, and that she dreamt of receiving a gift of earrings from him, and then making love to him. Gil, excited by this, steals a pair of Inez's earrings to give to Adriana, but as he's about to leave, he is surprised by Inez's early return to the hotel room.
Gil, why are you so dressed up?
Me? No, I'm not. I've been writing. I was just doing a little writing.
What, you dress up and put on cologne to write?
No, I jumped in the shower just for a second, just because you know how I think better in the shower and I get the positive ions going in there. And...
So we were halfway to Mont Saint Michel when Daddy he went pale as a ghost.
Inez discovers that her pearl earrings have gone missing. Gil freaks out and attempts to return it without them noticing. Fortunately for him, he gets away with it. The next day, Gil buys earrings for Adriana and returns to the past. He takes Adriana for a walk. They kiss, and he gives her the earrings. While she's putting them on, a horse-drawn carriage comes down the street, and a richly dressed couple inside the carriage invites Gil and Adriana for a ride. The carriage transports the passengers to the Ballet Porte, an era Adriana considers Paris's golden age.
Isn't it amazing? The first time we met, I told you about this place. And the Belle Époque. And here we are.
I don't know why I have this feeling like I'm just kind of, I don't know, like I can't believe my luck.
Well, and I know exactly where I want to go next.
You lead the way.
They end up in Moulin Rouge, where they meet a famous French painter and his friends. Together they discuss what they believe to be the best era, and the three agreed it is the Renaissance. The excited Adriana is offered a job designing ballet costumes, and proposes to Gil that they stay. But Gil, upon observing the unhappiness of Adriana and the other artists, realizes that chasing nostalgia is fruitless.
Adriana, if you stay here though and this becomes your present, then pretty soon you'll start imagining another time was really your, was really the golden time. Yeah, that's, what the present is. It's a little unsatisfying because life's a little unsatisfying.
That's the problem with writers. You are so full of words. But I am more emotional. And I'm gonna stay and live in Paris' most glorious time.
So they part ways. Gil returns to the 1920s to fetch his draft from Stein, who praises his progress as a writer and tells him that Hemingway likes it but questions why the main character has not realized that his fiancée, based on Inez, is having an affair with a character based on Paul. Gil then returns to the present and confronts Inez. She admits to having slept with Paul, but disregards it as a meaningless fling and that they can discuss it after their wedding. Gil breaks up with her and decides he's going to stay in Paris. While walking the streets at midnight, Gil bumps into Gabriella.
You're on your way home right now?
Yes.
Can I walk with you, or I'll buy you a cup of coffee, or okay, now it's starting to rain.
No, but that's okay. I don't mind getting wet.
Really?
Yeah. Actually, Paris is the most beautiful in the rain.
I feel like that's what I'm always saying. I couldn't agree more with you. Yes, it is more beautiful.
The lesson that Gil learns is one we can all take away. No matter our present circumstance, the present is all we have, so we must choose to live in it. Just as Eleanor Roosevelt once said, "Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, today is a gift, that's why we call it the present." 接下来我们来揭晓今天电影迷午夜巴黎 Midnight in Paris 要学什么。We hear golden age thinking, defined early on in the film as the erroneous notion that a different time period is better than the one one's living in. 对痛苦现实的拒绝，认为过去的时代会比自己当下活的时代还要好。Golden Age 是我们所称为的黄金时代，这个黄金时代是指我们最快乐的时代，通常也总是一个已经回不过去的时代。另外，我们也会用 the good old days 过去的美好时光。For example, Jenny misses the good old days when it was a simpler and happier time. 珍妮怀念过去的美好时光，那叫单纯又快乐的时光。This is called rosy retrospection, 玫瑰色回忆，把过去的回忆美化的比实际情况更好。那 hope you've learned something useful in this episode of Cinephile. You can find more on the FUNDAY website. Let's make every day a fun day.
What do you mean?
I dropped in on you the same way we're dropping in on the 1890s.
You did?
I was trying to escape my present the same way you're trying to escape yours to a golden age.
Surely you don't think the 20s are a golden age.